been a goal of mine, and I think a goal of many of you out there, particularly now. So our intention with this series is to share with you new places for you to call home and really how easy it is to make those dreams into a reality. Now, I am very excited for today's focus because we are highlighting the opportunities in the Aloha State, Hawaii. So whether you're a nature lover, an outdoor enthusiast, health and wellness enthusiast, young, old, romantic couples, fun-seeking families, whatever you are, there is an experience in Hawaii that is perfectly suited for you. So over the next hour we have together, we're going to discover those experiences. So let me introduce to you our three experts that are going to participate with us today. First, we have Dean Otto from Maui. Thank you, Dean, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And representing the Hawaiian Islands, or the Big Island, is Viola Augustine. So good to have you with us today.
Hi, Jeanette. Nice to be here. Thank you.
You are welcome. And Honolulu, Eric Taniguchi, welcome.
Aloha.
Aloha, and welcome everyone. And thank you so much for sharing your valuable time today and educating our audience. So for those of you out there, here is our format for today. We're going to have a series of Q&A with each of these experts. And then at the end of our talk, we're going to share some of their properties in each of the respective cities. That's always exciting. We do have a chat box open if you have a pressing question. And if we have time, we will get to it. We will certainly try. And just know that at the end of our time today, we're going to have contact information for each of our experts so that you can reach out to them directly for more information, more details. And of course, we have time to cover here. So let's grab our hula skirts and get started. The first question that I always ask is why? Why Hawaii? Why Maui? Why the Big Island? Why Oahu and Honolulu? So let's start. What do you say, Eric? Would you like to go first and talk to us about Honolulu? I think that's the largest city. Am I correct on that? So talk to us a little bit about the lifestyle that you can offer vacation home purchasers.
Got it. Well, you know, all the islands got the beautiful beaches, the hiking and the beautiful mountains. What Oahu offers is, you know, it's a gathering place. It has a big city feel. So you have the nightlife, you have the large shopping centers. People are attracted to Oahu because of our private schools. And we also have the critical care here on Oahu, which is important for elderly as well.
So would you say, you mentioned schools and then you also mentioned critical care. So your areas across the board in terms of ages.
Correct. Yeah, everything, the big private schools, I mean, are on Oahu, but of course there's some on the neighbor islands as well. The popular ones are like Punahou, where Barack Obama went to school. And, but yeah, and the critical care here as well.
Excellent. In your area, and we can kind of talk about this as we proceed. So wherever you can interject, I'd love to hear, and I think the audience would love to hear kind of the diversity in your area, because I'm understanding you've got maybe a different kind of lifestyle on the North Shore with surfers, and then maybe Waikiki is a little bit more like a city, you know, a little bit more crowded. So we'd love to, I think the audience is always, you know, if they're not very familiar, they're always trying to decide, you know, where would I fit in there? You know, what is appealing to that area?
Got it. You know, Oahu's kind of like a combination of two islands. We have town, which is the city, downtown Honolulu, the financial area, the shopping malls, and all the high rises. And then the countryside is going to be out in the North Shore, more laid back. Not as much people out there, but you still got a lot of tourists, you know, all over the island that travel over the island. But I think that's what stands out about Oahu. You got that combination of both, of having that. Some people don't, you know, want to have that feel, and others, you know, want to have more of that island style. So I think that's, you know, laid back island life, which will be more on the North Shore or definitely one of the neighbor islands.
Sounds beautiful. I'm ready to go. What about Maui, Dean? Share with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeanette. Yeah, Maui is way cooler of an island than Oahu. I'm just kidding. Sorry. You know, very different islands, right? So Maui is more of a vacation destination and much more of a second home community. So, you know, we don't have the big city. You know, we're 20-minute flights on a you know, prop plane to get to Oahu if you really need to go shopping at Ala Moana. But for most of us, we love the island lifestyle, which is a little more maybe prevalent in Maui. It's a little more laid back. I call it Polynesian paralysis. Everything goes a little bit slower. Everything moves at its own pace. Deadlines are just sort of gray. And, you know, I think it's a lifestyle that people are really interested in right now. And I will say this, that the Maui option has become very popular. You know, we're seeing a tremendous increase in demand for Maui. And, you know, there's a lot of people that are, you know, looking to make moves right now. And I think looking for places that they can be where they can, you know, enjoy the lifestyle. They can, you know, people can work from anywhere in the world now. So there's a whole lot more flexibility to people being able to move around more. And Maui market over the last, you know, really since the pandemic started, has been on fire. And it was pretty sluggish prior to that, especially the high end was not doing particularly well, it was okay. But we were struggling along with primarily people looking to vacation. And since the pandemic started, we've seen a big flip towards people looking to have second homes rather than vacation homes. So it's 1 to 2 month stays are now 6 months plus. And I think Maui makes a lot of sense when you're talking about 6 months versus 1 month. We don't have the ability to vacation rent these homes. So you have to use them to make sense of them. And I think, you know, Maui's coming into its own because people are planning to spend time here. And, you know, that we all know that during the pandemic, people have been digging deep, looking at their lives and wondering what the future looks like. For a lot of people, that means where am I going to live and what does that lifestyle look like? And I think Maui has ranked high on the choices for where to be, you know, in today's world, today's crazy world. So.
You brought up a very good point, the difference between a second home and a vacation home. And as I'm talking to agents all across the country, they're reiterating what you just shared, that people are examining how they're spending their time, how they're spending their money also, and can they put their money into something that can actually enjoy.
Right.
And of course, a second home, and it checks all of those boxes. So let's move on to the Big Island. You call them the Hawaiian chains. Is that correct, Viola? Talk to us about what makes that place so special and why you love it.
Well, I was born and raised here, so I might be a little biased. But Big Island no ko'oi, I stole that actually from Dean's Island. The saying for Maui is Maui no ko'oi, but I might say the same thing about Hawaii Islands. Aside from the fact that I was born and raised here, this is a very rural location, but at the same time, you've got all the necessities that you need. So the major towns here, you're no more than, you know, 30, 45 minutes from Costco, Target, for the most part, right? So you can get all your necessities, but at the same time, we only have 45 people per square mile. So somebody that might be looking to go someplace where you can really take advantage of the outdoors and not run across somebody for the whole day, you can actually do that here on this island.
Wow, so that really is quarantine. That's perfect.
we're self-quarantined, sure.
So nothing has changed much for you. You're used to this.
Yeah, no, not really. Nothing's changed. I mean, I'm still able to go out and have my usual adventures like I do. You know, another thing that people really like about Hawaii Island is our sense of culture. So the Native Hawaiian culture is still very alive and strong here. And so I find that a lot of people who are attracted to Hawaii Island, they're really looking not to bring what they had from one location, but really to assimilate to what we have here, which is being laid back, being part of the community, making friends with your neighbors, sharing your bananas and your papayas, all those good things that we get to take advantage of having a tropical environment.
In doing my research, I was reading that Kona is a more traditional Hawaiian experience. Would that be accurate to say? At the Kona side?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
So even that, it's not just tourists. I mean, you have people that live there full time, live there part time. That's still a big part of your market.
Sure. Yes. And we've kind of, like Eric was saying, he kind of has two different islands. We kind of do as well. We've got the dry side of our island and the wet side of the island, just like all the islands do. The Kona side of the island tends to be a little drier. Tourists tend to come to the Kona side more often than they do the Hilo side. The Hilo side of the island is still beautiful. It rains a bit more, which means that it's greener and it's lush and we've got beautiful waterfalls. So there are definitely reasons to go to that side of the island, but that's where you tend to find more of the full-time residents. The Kona side is where you find the majority of the second homes, short-term vacation rentals, and then people like me who live here as well.
Beautiful. Well, let's talk a little bit about the market of the moment. We all know that COVID has changed a lot for people's lifestyles, changed a lot in what people are buying and what people are selling. So to each one of you, so I think this is a question I would like each one of you to answer. Talk to us about who are your buyers for vacation homes or second homes? What are they buying and how has it changed in the last few months? Who wants to go first?
I can go first. Since I brought it up already, we've seen a big change in the Maui market, which is has that second home buyer. Eric will get has a big market of people that live there. They have over 1 million people that live there. We have about 140,000. So actually, Leola and I actually live in small towns, which can get pretty crowded when you add all the tourists to them. But what's happened is, our tourism is down. Obviously, we're still a state that's kind of on lockdown. We're still requiring quarantine for people that come and travel here. So we haven't really been completely exposed to the market because we're basically we almost have zero tourists right now on the island. So which makes it a little challenging. But that said, our market has really been strong. The high end has really picked up. I would say since the pandemic started, we've seen sales that we haven't seen in the last 10 years. So my business personally it's the best 4 months that I've ever had in real estate. I would have to say that. And so
And
I
you've
think
been
the
in real
market's
estate
really
for 28 years, right?
for like 100 years, yeah.
Yeah, so that's saying something if this is the
It
best
is.
4 months.
It is. The fundamental change there being, as a vacation destination, we lost a lot of potential. But as the second home market, we've really come into our own. So we've done a complete 180 in our market, and we really now become so attractive. Whereas before, people were, I can be there for a month or two, but then what am I going to do for the other 10 months if I can't vacation rent it?
Right.
And that's always been our challenge, and it's held us back. And that's sort of all gone away now. Our market has really starting to take off. And once they open up the state to tourists, who's majority of my market, things will change even more. And I think for us, we're doing virtual real estate. We've sort of been quarantined, like Leola says. We love it because we have the island to ourselves with no tourists and no traffic. This is awesome. But we're completely and totally ready to get back to normal again and get things rolling.
So who is the typical buyer in Maui?
Typical buyer is someone that lives on the West Coast. California's been popular for us, Seattle, Portland, and surprisingly, your hometown too, Jeanette. I have a property in escrow for $15.5 million. The buyer is from Houston, and the backup offer is from Austin.
Oh gosh.
So, I think
it's somebody that I know.
I know. I'm not even going to say the name, but I don't want to see it. I don't want you to get mad.
Come visit.
But my point is that they're coming from all over the place. I mean, there's a huge referral opportunity when it comes to Hawaii because people are coming here. I mean, they absolutely are. And they're coming over and buying. And we get a lot of referrals, but when you think about it, our buyers are all coming from other places and we're having a lot of great activity. I'm talking about $15 million sales and significant purchases. And, it's primarily West Coast, but we do get a strong interest from the Texas area as well.
And are those mostly single family homes?
Correct.
A big condo market or?
There's a big condo market. Yeah. I'm more of a residential broker, but the condos are popular too. And, I have condos that go up to $5.5 million right now. So we got some beautiful oceanfront condos. And you can buy a condo on the ocean in Maui, a 2-bedroom condo in Maui for $1 million. So it kind of depends on the location. But if you get into the nice areas, the resort communities that are really the places that get a lot of the attention, those prices can get pretty high.
Interesting. What about your experience, Eric?
A lot of our buyers are coming from Asia. I mean, number one is going to be Japan, Korea, China. So we have a lot of buyers coming from Canada and Australia as well. And for us, just like what Dean was mentioning, a lot of people from the West Coast, especially California, Washington, and we have a lot of buyer activity from not just Texas, but Chicago and New York as well. Right now, due to COVID, we're starting to see in our market is that luxury condo market has really gone down and is kind of gone really quiet, mainly due to a lot of the international buyers, they can't come in right now. I mean, they have a travel quarantine. So that's why the activity there has gone down. And we're starting to see an uptick in activity on our luxury single family homes, a segment of the market that's been slow for a few years now, but it has picked up recently because of COVID and a lot of, like what Dean was saying, buyers from the mainland buying vacation homes, second homes here on Oahu. So it's good to be able to see the luxury single family home market pick up again.
So would you say then that there's some opportunity in the condo market if it's slowed down, opportunity for buyer?
Yeah, absolutely. Huge opportunity.
Interesting. And Leola, share with us a little bit about who your buyers are and what are they buying?
My buyers, well, I've actually got a pretty good mix. Being born and raised here, I know a lot of people here in the community. So I've got a lot of good mix of buyers who are local here to the island, as well as a lot of buyers who are coming in from out of state. Same like Dean, West Coast. We do have quite a few Texas and Colorado clients who come in from into the islands as well. And what we're finding is that my clients who had purchased maybe a vacation home a couple years ago, they're now looking to trade up to something that's a little bit bigger or something that has multiple living areas so that when they come here, they can come with their entire family and spend quite a bit more time. We also have quite a few buyers coming in from Washington and San Francisco who work in the tech space and can really work from anywhere. So now they're choosing the Big Island for their new home office. So it's a really interesting market because the Big Island has such a wide expanse of types of properties. Condos really aren't doing so well. The residential market is doing much better. We've got a $45 million home that went on the market into escrow the next day, as well as, our $500,000 price point is pretty much non-existent. Inventory is really low. So I've had to really dig hard to find properties that weren't on the market for my buyers who needed to move here, wanted to move here before the properties even come on the market. Because once they do, there's kind of no chance if you're a buyer, especially if you're not here on the island, to look at the property.
Right, it moves too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people that are looking to have a vacation home or a secondary home, they do want to monetize this investment in some way. And so I know, Dean, you were talking about there's no short-term rentals in Maui, but are there, 6-month rentals? Can you speak to that a little bit? And then each one of you, if you are able to do short-term rentals, I think it would be helpful for any prospective buyers to understand what the short-term rental opportunities are versus even long-term investments. Anything that you can share on appreciation trends would be very informative.
Sure. So the islands are all a little different in how they handle rentals. On Maui, if you own a single family home, you're limited to 6-month rentals, unless you're on a hotel zoning, which is impossible. So, that becomes a challenge for people, and that's why it makes sense for people to be able to spend more time. It's difficult to use the property when you're renting it long term. So that becomes a little bit of a challenge, but yes, you can. You can rent them. I have homes that are currently renting for $20,000 a month. And it doesn't seem to be a problem 6 months nowadays. Now that wasn't possible a year ago, but that market has developed. So long-term rentals actually become financially a little more lucrative whereas before it was so vacation rental driven. The challenge obviously right now being on the quarantine and travel restrictions, it's really difficult to predict future income. So where we're seeing a slowdown in our market is in that vacation rental condo, like Eric said, where, you know, people have bought them based on a certain amount of income to carry it. And that's just obviously not as easy to predict, but it also creates an opportunity to where condos are much more affordable right now, while it is uncertainty with that. So opportunity is with the condos. The condo market has slowed down about 25%. Obviously the travel restrictions are a big part of that, but prices continue to increase every month versus a year ago. So for the single families, we've had, you know, a 4 to 7%, not major, but 4 to 7% appreciation every month for 6 months when compared to last year and the years before. So, you know, our market has been flat, unlike some of the big city markets that have really gone through major spikes in the last 5 years. We've been pretty flat, and we're actually just now finally coming into our own. So we consider Hawaii great value. And we never went through the massive spike like San Francisco's and the LA's and the, you know, the big markets. So we're still, there's upside potential. The demand is greater than ever. And I think the opportunity is in living and enjoying the lifestyle and having a place in Hawaii to own. You know, it's been a great investment if you look at the history of Hawaii real estate. And so here's an opportunity to have an investment that's working for you. And at the same time, you can have, you know, come over and enjoy the greatest lifestyle on the planet.
What about you, Leola? What can you share with us?
So historically, our market's appreciated about 2%. And of course, that takes into account, you know, the Great Recession and other downturns in the market that we've had. So it's a pretty safe, easy, steady, as long as you hold on to the property for long term. What's going on right now, over last year, in comparison to right now, our active listings are down 33%. Prices are up 9%. So we don't have a lot on the market. You know, this is also interesting because you've got 3 ways, if you wanted to rent your property out as a short-term rental here on this island, 3 ways to do so. Either 1, you live in the property, in part of the property, and you rent out a part of it as a short-term vacation rental. 2, you happen to be in a resort node or in a resort zoned area, which, like Dean said, it's not impossible here, but it's a very small portion of what we have available. And then number 3, you pretty much hit the lottery and you were able to apply and were awarded a STVR permit, short-term vacation rental permit. So I actually do have a few listings, which I'll talk about a little bit later, that actually have that short-term vacation rental permit. You cannot get any more of them. So those are really golden tickets if you want to be able to earn income on a property.
So they transfer with the property and they don't ever expire?
You do have to renew them every year, but they do transfer with the property.
Interesting. What is a renewal like that? What does that cost?
You know, I'm not sure the county of Hawaii even knows the answer to that just yet. I just filled one out for a property that I sold last year, and I'm sure there's going to be some sort of an application fee at some point. But at this point, all it was is just filling out the re-application form, which is just 2 pages, and turning it in.
Interesting. So the people that are coming to you to purchase, you know, second homes or vacation homes, do the majority of them do some type of a rental for that property throughout the year, or are they just having it for their own use?
I would say 90% of them rent it out in some capacity. I've got a handful of owners who will come, of course, they're snowbirds. They want to get away from the cold. They come here during the high season for us, which is winter, which also happens to be their biggest money-making months. But to them, it's also the lifestyle. So they'll come over for those months, and then they'll rent their condo or home out for the remainder of the year. And then I have those that are, you know, 5 years or so away from retirement. They want to continue to vacation and enjoy their life. So they may only be able to get over here for 3 or 4 months or 3 or 4 weeks out of the year, and then they'll rent it out the remainder.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of people who are planning for that retirement, whether it's 5 or 10 years down the road. They want to buy now at the prices now, enjoy the appreciation, and then have somebody else paying down their equity so they can slide into retirement in a beautiful place like Hawaii. So Eric, talk to me a little bit about Oahu in terms of appreciation trends, and are people short-terming or long-term their rentals?
Yeah, well, like what the others were mentioning, for us on here on Oahu, short-term rentals are pretty much put on hold right now. You can apply for getting that short-term vacation rental license, like Leola mentioned, but for Oahu, it's going to be so minimal amount of license that will be issued out. I'm sure the folks are not going to be able to get it. 30-day rentals for single-family homes, depending on the building, it could range anywhere from probably 3 to 6 months minimum for the condominiums. But yeah, I mean, Hawaii, Oahu, I'm not sure about the neighbor islands, but Oahu, I mean, it's people purchase here more for, like they're saying, the appreciation. Cash flow is going to be not the greatest. You definitely want to invest in other places for cash flow, but appreciation, long-term appreciation is strong here on Oahu. That's why people purchase here.
What would you say the appreciation has been in Oahu, let's just say in the last 5 years?
5 years overall, I'd say we're looking at about, I'd say about 7 to 9% overall from the past 5 years.
That's very healthy. Is your market mainly, since it sounds to me like it's more like a city, is it primarily multifamily, like condos?
I mean, well, we got a mix from the condos, townhomes, single-family homes. Oahu is probably one of the highest in the nation for multi-generational living because of our high cost of living, low income here. So we do have a lot of generations in one home. It's pretty common here. Yeah.
Interesting. And so the condo market, does it not cash flow as well because the like the homeowners association fees are high, or there are additional expenses with the condo versus a single family?
Yeah, I think the cash flow doesn't really work out as well here because rents are lower. Maintenance fees, the HOA fees are high here in Hawaii. So that's where you don't get the cash flow. Prices are high, but rents are low.
I understand. Okay. So kind of speaking more about the financials before we start talking about fun stuff, which is the properties itself. For an out-of-state purchaser, is there anything unusual, different? Is there any type of a limitation on a non-resident purchasing? Leo,
Yeah, I can talk to that. Yeah, it's really not, sorry, I'll just jump in there, sorry.
Okay.
But I was going to say it's really not very different than what most people are used to. We use escrows and, it's sort of the same thing. We do have state taxes and conveyance tax, but nothing unusual. And probably not as much as, say, California. Most people coming from California are saying, oh my God, we way more over there. So nothing unusual is my answer.
And I would say the only thing that I just recently had to explain to one of my buyer clients is, and I don't think that this is the case in any of the other 49 states, but here in Hawaii, we have a good funds rule or law, which requires that funds go into escrow at least 2 days prior to closing. So there's usually a lot of confusion. Buyers might be familiar with a closing, which is different from a funding. So you need to fund, and then once you fund, you can close 2 days later.
Oh, interesting. That is unusual. So is that just your area? Is that all through Hawaii?
All through Hawaii.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The only other
Basically, what
thing
they're
that-
doing, Jeanette, is they're taking a 1-day review period with the title company, reviews everything and all the documentation, make sure it's right, and then the second day goes to the Bureau of Conveyances and they review and make sure everything is correct, and then it records. Like a review process, really.
Interesting. So can something go wrong during that process that a buyer should be aware of? Is there some risk during that time period?
Not really a risk as much as if a document was incorrectly notarized, that's where they would flag it. But it's not really a situation where the deal's like too late to cancel at that point. You know what I mean? It's like already a done deal, so to speak. But unless something was incorrectly done, it needs to be corrected in order to accommodate the recording.
I see. So just they use that time to like correct paperwork, but there's not a danger. Like a buyer doesn't have to be afraid that they're not going to be able to close.
Correct.
And do you need attorneys in Hawaii, or is it just agents that handle the transaction and an attorney is optional?
Escrow and title for Hawaii, and attorneys draw up the deed conveyance.
Yeah, attorney has to draw up the deed, but you don't. It's optional to consult with an attorney for the closing. Most people don't.
That's how it is here too. And so if a prospect is coming to Hawaii to purchase, is it like a standard 30 to 60 days? Do you have a review period, like where they do their due diligence? Does it follow along those similar guidelines?
Yep.
Yeah, we well, typically in my market, and I think it might be different in Eric's market, you'll have to correct me, and maybe even in Dean's market, but we typically see about a 14-day inspection period. And then, you know, if it's a cash transaction, we typically see about a 30-day close. If it's a loan, 45 to 60 days. And part of the reason why it takes a little bit longer here in Hawaii is because we only have a handful of appraisers. So if you're relying on an appraiser who's out appraising other properties, you're kind of at their schedule. Other than that, it's kind of a 30 to 60 day type close.
Pretty standard. Pretty standard time period. You know, you'd be surprised. I've been learning a lot as we're going through these series, and there's all kinds of surprises for people, and things are not done the same in every city or every state. So I think it's important to take a moment to inform even agents who might be referring someone to one of you how processes can differ, and to just be sure to ask. That's really when the problems arise, is when expectations are thrown off. Sure. So it's just a simple question, just to get that clarity, because it's not the way it is in your hometown everywhere in the world. That's for sure. Now, I've got a question before we go into talking about your individual properties. If I had $1 million, Leola, what could that buy me?
My listing on Ali'i Drive, which is located right across the street from one of the best surfing and snorkel beaches on the island.
I love the enthusiasm. So about how big is that? And so it's walking distance to the beach?
It is walking distance to the beach. It is literally right across the street from the beach. There's no other building in front of you. It is the beach, the road to get to the beach, and then the property. What's great about this property is it's actually just off the road a little bit, so you don't get the road noise. Really, all you hear is the surf breaking out from the ocean. It's about 3,000 square feet of living space. It's got 3 bedrooms, 3 baths upstairs, and then downstairs, this is one of my properties that has a short-term vacation rental unit. There's 2 separate areas that you can rent out. So you can live in one, rent out the other 2, rent out all of them. And it's a really nice money-making property.
That sounds
fantastic.
Yeah, I know. Multiple offers. Just with the people on this call here. Eric, if I called you and said, how best should I spend $1 million in your area, what would you sell me?
You could get a beautiful condo, 2, maybe 3-bedroom condo for $1 million. For single family homes in the desirable neighborhoods or in Honolulu, it's going to be a shack that you're going to have to really repair and completely renovate for $1 million. So that's what you're kind of getting here on Oahu.
$1 million fixer-upper for a
$1 million fixer-upper. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. I bet it's worth it to just be there.
Right.
And Dean, what could you sell me for $1 million?
I would probably tell you to go see Leo and buy that property she has.
I'll send you a referral.
The referral fee, right? You know what? So we'd probably be a little bit more expensive than the Big Island. You know, we don't have homes in the region that I'm in, which is the west side. We don't have homes for $1 million. I mean, that's kind of the start of where we have homes. So it sounds crazy, but that would be entry level. But you can buy a condo, right? So I do have a condo that's on the market right now for $995,000, and it's literally right on the ocean in a part of a complex in Kapalua called the Bay Villas. And that would get you like a large 1-bedroom condo, 1-bedroom, 1-bath. That's vacation rentable. But you're in one of the, absolutely world-class settings in one of the main resort communities with all kinds of amenities and golf and spa. And it would be perfect for you, Jeanette. I think it's got your name written on it.
I'm getting on a plane this afternoon. Okay, so let's switch over to the segment that everybody is dying to see because they want to see properties. So who are we starting with here? I think, is it Dean that's up on the deck first? It is. It's Dean. So Dean, share with us everything that you can about these properties and tell us what we're going to buy from you today.
So it would be awesome if you would buy this from me. This one is a pretty special property that I've been working on for some time. It's just one of the most amazing properties around. If you look at the bottom right-hand picture, and you'll see those condos to the right-hand side of that photograph, the bottom right, that's the Bay Villas that I was talking about that has the 1-bedroom condo for $995. So there would be just a little walkway down to that beautiful beach over there. And then beside the Bay Villas, we have a house and then a vacant lot. And those are the two properties that I'm featuring today on this slide. And the house is about 6,600 square feet, and you can see it's a showpiece. It just is absolutely the most spectacular property you can imagine. It's got the 2 red lines beside it on the bottom right-hand photograph. So the best thing that I love about these two properties is that they sold, and that the lot closed yesterday for $8 million. That's the one in the top right. There's a 1.7 acre oceanfront lot. And then we'll be closing the house next door here in the next few days for $15.5 million. So it's a real nice, same owner, nice little combination, $23.5 million sale to an individual who owns his properties from Lake Tahoe. But just, the point I bring it up is because I'm just very proud of it. And it's taken me many years to sell this. And in some cases, we've been trying to sell these properties for 5 to 8 years. And we've been in a bit of a stagnant market, but ultimately in the last 4 months, these properties have started selling. So that's been really exciting for me. And it's one of the most spectacular properties you'll see. The bottom left-hand side, you can see how the pool drops off into the ocean. That's a perfect infinity edge. You can barely see the difference here, but it literally sits perched up, pool drops into the ocean. You got 18.5-foot electronic pocket doors that disappear into that rock wall. And you just have this amazing, completely open indoor-outdoor lifestyle that's magical, and it really, there's nothing, it's probably going to be one of the world-class places to be right now. So that's pretty exciting. And then in a lot, of course, a home site on a beach like that in a resort like Kapalua is $8 million. So that's some of the high end of my inventory, and there's a fair amount of that out there. This is not that uncommon, but ultimately it's just a spectacular property that I've been working on for a while and I'm just super proud of. So
congratulations.
thank you.
That's wonderful. Did one person buy both?
Actually, it's 2 separate people. They know each other. And the buyer of the lots from San Diego and the buyer of the house is from Houston.
Probably some Texas oil money.
That's some oil money right there, yeah.
Okay, what do we have next?
And then this is a little more typical of the properties that I am selling more regularly. I'd love to sell $23 million properties every month, but it doesn't happen that often. And this is a little more the bread and butter of what we sell here, which is a brand new 3680 interior square feet. So it's not massive. It's a 4-bedroom, very manageable, much more modern and slick in its style. And our market is definitely trending more to a more modern style. And this is a good example of what is very popular in our market right now. It's listed for $3.7 million, and that's a screaming deal for a home like this on a ½ acre, brand new, never been lived in, furnished, and has an amazing sunset view. And we were talking earlier about that photograph of the stars. You sit up pretty high on a hill, and in some of these areas where you're getting above all the lights and all the activity, you have an amazing nightscape as well. And so it's just one of those very special properties. It's right about the perfect property for what the market's calling for right now, and brand new, never been lived in before.
Yeah, we were commenting that we thought the sky was photoshopped, but you assure us that
Maybe juiced up a little bit, but it's, that really is what the you know, it looks like a nut. And I live right up the road from this, and I can, you know, I can assure you.
It's gorgeous, gorgeous. Thank you for sharing this. I like to see the diversity too, because like you said, $28 million properties are amazing. But what are people actually going to buy? The masses of people going to buy? Unfortunately for you, not $28 million. It's so
Keep
fun.
wishing, yeah.
It's so fun to see it. Okay, who is next after Dean? Leola,
That's me.
guys,
Fun.
share this with me. Tell me all about it.
Okay, so I actually put together some numbers here on this property. This is one of my newer listings, and I thought this would be a really great listing to kind of showcase the affordability of the Big Island. So listed at $799, this house does come with a short-term vacation rental permit, so you can actually rent it as a short-term vacation rental. The owner last year was able to gross $70,000 with this property as a short-term vacation rental. As you can see, it's beautifully updated. One of the key features that I love finding in houses here, if you look at those ceilings, you don't find that built in new homes very often because it is so expensive to build with open beam ceilings here in Hawaii. So it's just one of those nice quintessential, at least Kona features, architectural features that you see in a home. If you take a look at the picture at the top right, you'll see a view out to the ocean, and that is actually another one of the best surf beaches on the island. So you can literally sit on your lanai, which is your covered patio, and watch the waves roll in from the sea comfortably while having a Mai Tai or some other delicious beverage. But this house, I actually wanted to give you an example of how you can actually get paid to own a house here in Hawaii. So you've got an upstairs 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this unit, as well as a downstairs 1-bedroom, 1-bath. So here's some numbers for you. 20% down with 3% interest rate on your mortgage. With taxes and insurance, your expenses are going to be about $3,200 a month. So if you want to get paid to own this house, rent the upstairs for about $3,000 a month. That's kind of the going rate for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Rent the downstairs for $1,500 a month. So $4,500 a month in gross income, less your expenses. That's $1,300 a month net. Own a house for free in Hawaii. Actually get paid.
Thank you for those numbers, because that does really bring it down to a reality. And that's kind of the whole point in these discussions too, is this is reachable. The pricing is reasonable. And of course, if you're making money, have someone else pay down this asset and use it when you can. That's amazing. Do you know how, and you may, I'm putting you on the spot, but do you know how many days of the year that would require to hit those numbers? Like, in other words, how often could you use this for your personal use?
So those numbers I actually gave as long-term rental numbers. But this does have a short-term vacation rental permit. So you could actually make even more money than what I just quoted for you there with the long-term. The long-term will give you the conservative numbers. But like I had mentioned, last year, the seller had grossed about $70,000. And typically what we see is that houses here or vacation rentals here pretty much hover around 65 to 70% occupancy. Kind of what I share with my clients is anybody's going to be able to get you 50% occupancy. If you have somebody who can't get you any more than 50% occupancy, you need to find somebody new. The average property manager can get you about 65% occupancy. And then if you want to find a property manager who can really push the limits, then you're looking at about 70% occupancy to 80% occupancy. And then you still have 20 to 30% of the year for you to use the asset.
I like those numbers. Thank you for sharing that. What else do you have for us today?
I have, so if you look at my screen, oh good, we've got the aerial. This property is located right behind my head. This is actually located in Kona Bay Estates, which is the only oceanfront gated community in downtown Kona. We do have other gated oceanfront communities, but none of them are downtown Kona. This is the only listing that is on the market for residents in this neighborhood, listed at $1.995 million. And this house is a lot of fun. You've got a pool table, and if none of the features inside the house is keeping everybody entertained at the moment, then you just go right across the street to the beach. We've got keiki ponds. Keiki is the Hawaiian word for kid or child. And we've got these really nice tide pools with the sandy beach for you to kind of relax and enjoy in. And then, of course, it's walking distance to town. So for numbers for this house, on average, they gross about $80,000 to $90,000 a year. Now that might confuse you because earlier I had said on the less expensive property that it grossed about $70,000 a year. And the reason for this is because my sellers do come and spend about 4 to 5 months out of the year in this home, and that's during the high season. So they really are able to take advantage of the home for themselves and their family and still able to make a nice income off the property.
Beautiful. That's really nice. Walking distance to town and the beach.
Mhm.
The best of both worlds, right?
Mhm.
Gorgeous. Okay, last but not least, Eric, what do you have for us?
So this here is a beautiful home in the neighborhood of Kahala. We have world famous Kahala Avenue, and at the end is the Kahala Hotel. But this is just one street in from Kahala Avenue, so less traffic, much more quiet. This is a 5-bedroom, 5.5 bath home. There's over 6,600 square feet interior, and for Oahu, that's large. And so price per square foot, it's one of the best in the neighborhood. So we have this one listed at $4.25 million for this Kahala home, and it's gated. You have beautiful. It's walking distance to beautiful beaches, and you're in the heart of Honolulu.
Beautiful. So 6650, is that a large size for your area or a
That's
typical?
large. That's
That's-
large for Oahu.
Yeah,
Not
that
sure
is.
about the neighbor islands, but for Oahu, that's large.
Yeah, that seems like a really big house. But you know, people are wanting that, right? Because I think someone mentioned multi-generations. Oh, I think that was you, right, Eric?
Mhm.
Multi-generations. So this would certainly fit that.
Yeah, actually, there's 5 bedrooms, but there's also 2 bonus rooms. There's a guest suite with its own separate entrance, wet bar. So that's perfect for in-laws or other family members as well.
Okay, beautiful.
And you got your waterfall and tiki torches, so it completes the Hawaii feel.
I see that. Does that come standard with every home?
No, not all homes here have waterfalls, but this is a beautiful home that does include that.
It's gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, what is your second property?
So this one here is our Waimea Point Estate. This is located on the North Shore. And if you've ever heard of the Eddie Aikau Big Wave Surfing Contest, every winter, if the waves hit 30 feet and above, they have a big wave surf invitational. So this is situated right at the Waimea Point, and gated home. You have your own private pool, but also private beach access to 3 Tables Beach. But from the living room on the bottom left photo, during the big wave contest, you can enjoy and seeing 40+ foot waves come rolling in. But the good thing is you have this peninsula on the bottom right that breaks up these waves, and your harm would be you'll be able to enjoy the big wave contest peacefully from your home.
That's interesting how the house is kind of situated further out than the others.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So you got views of Waimea Bay, and the opposite side, 3 Tables Beach views.
I love that. And so 5,000 square feet. So
And
another,
this is what we have listed at $4.95 million.
what is the average price point, would you say, for residential in your area, Eric?
Residential average price point, we're looking at about $800,000 for Oahu. So this is going to be on the higher end.
Sure, sure. But it's nice to know about both ends of the spectrum, kind of the more affordable starter homes as well as some of these trophy properties. And
Right.
you all have done a great job sharing all of that with us. So thank you very much. And as we're kind of closing out, If there's any questions for anyone, please feel free to post those. Any of these fantastic experts, Leola, Eric, or Dean, can reach out to you directly if you want to post them in the Facebook feed. And their contact information also is on the screen. So save that somewhere, take a picture of it, save it, tuck it away, and make sure to make use of these experts' connections, their experience, if you're looking to make a purchase in any of these areas. I think it's so exciting to hear about people. I know I have my own stories with clients. I'm hearing all the time from agents who have their stories of helping their clients kind of reach that dream of owning a vacation home or a second home. It's become more a reality now than ever before. And I think if you are watching and you're an agent, know that it's a gift to be able to be part of that, be able to bring that dream to these clients into their families. And for those of you who are watching that are considering making a purchase, reach out to your local Keller Williams agent. We have offices, 850 and more offices in the U.S. We have offices all over the world, and opening more of them up left and right. You'd be amazed at where we have offices and who we can connect you to make sure that your dream can also become a reality, and will help you kind of create that experiential life that you deserve and that you desire. So thank you so much, Dean, Leola, Eric, for sharing this great information with us today. I do love Austin, Texas, but I could use some sand on my feet at the moment. And a view of the ocean wouldn't be bad either. And that time that you recommended, Leola, that would be wonderful as well. So next month, I don't know where we're going to go next month. We've got a few things on deck. I think we've had a couple requests for the Carolinas. Someone reached out to me about Montana. So if you have any ideas, if you want us to come to your area, please feel free to post that on the Facebook feed, and let's talk. Let's see where we'll be next month. And I hope that you can join us. So until then, take care from Austin, Texas. This is Jeanette Spinelli with the Spinelli Residential Group. Go make it a powerful day. Stay healthy, and above all else, be kind. Thank you, everybody. See you soon.
Thanks, Jeanette.
Bye.
Thank you.